Hello, welcome to week 7. Just a couple of quick notes. I have some videos in here from, again, from previous, from the professors that have previously taught this course. I think they're pretty good. I want you to listen to those. I'm going to have one or two after this as well, much shorter, just to talk about this week's chapter. So pay particularly attention as they're talking about the market discussion. I think it's in the first video. They built their video in I think April of 2018. They were talking about people throwing money in the market, and if you'll remember, just last year, right, market was going great. Everybody's dumping money into it, and then in December, after these guys did their video, market tanked. Remember this past Christmas Eve, the markets were down 10, 12, 15%. Well, since then, they've also rallied back to about where they were past November. So I think the message there is that nobody really knows what the future is going to hold. So be particularly aware of that as we go through this chapter. And chapter 8 is going to talk about this as well. They're going to talk about market symmetry and market efficiency. And it's important, really the concept here is that if the number of buyers and the number of sellers are equal, so that the shares can flow back and forth very easily, that's an efficient system, right? Somebody wants to buy something, they can buy it. Somebody wants to sell something, they can sell it. And then they also talk about knowledge. So as if one side, all the buyers have more knowledge than the sellers, or all the sellers have more knowledge than the buyers, then that's a non-symmetric market, and it becomes inefficient because one side has an advantage over the other. So that's the key point there. It's interesting to listen to their discussion about that. And then they're going to talk about beating the market and abnormal returns. And abnormal returns are really going to be, if you have, let's say, a stock in a particular sector, some oil stock, and its returns are so much better than all the other oil stocks that are out there, that's an abnormal return. That's it. That's an excess, positive excess return. So that's the key point in there as you read your material. And it's very difficult to pick which stock's going to be better than the others, right? Because we have lots of tools available to us on the internet. But being able to know what information is relevant versus not is very difficult. So that's why we get into this whole concept of ETFs. If you want to buy an oil stock, buy them all. Buy a whole group of them so that when the one company in that group does better, you win. If one of them really does poorly, you're protected by all the other ones that do well. So that's kind of the concept there. And we'll talk, what you'll hear about, which is very interesting, is all the studies that are done. The slow and steady approach that we've been talking about in some of my other videos, where you just invest on a monthly basis in some sort of a diversified portfolio, that oftentimes over time does better than these individual stock pickers, these day traders, these folks that are trying to find the company, because it's very much of a gamble versus trying to kind of just the slow and steady approach. You buy when if the market's down a little bit and you're investing the same amount of money, you buy a little bit more shares. If the market's up, you're buying a little bit less shares. But over time, you're buying the number of shares and taking advantage of the market growth throughout. So if markets are very highly efficient, that approach, slow and steady, buy and hold, does really well. Now, if the markets get crazy and people will have information that they don't have and they become inefficient, well, then all bets are off when it comes to that. But over time, you can see the slow, steady approach will work very, very well. So enjoy the videos this week, and I'm going to make another one here in a little bit. Talk about some of the information at the end of Chapter 7 that'll supplement the other videos that are out there. Have a good week.